Hey, welcome back to the channel. If you own an F-150 or you're thinking about owning an F-150, have you thought at all about your catalytic converters?
Well, that's not something I'd normally think about, but this statistic caught my eye the other day. Number one in the United States in the list of vehicles most likely to have their cat stolen is the Ford F-Series pickup trucks. What will it take to replace your catalytic converters for your F-150? Well, mine, I looked up the parts for my F-150 3.5 liter PowerBoost, and it takes two cats, one for the left side, one for right side. They're different parts. That's $3,215 for both cats, plus shipping and tax, and the time that it takes for these items to be in stock. Don't assume that they're in stock. Comprehensive auto insurance will typically cover the cost of replacement, plus the likely damage that was caused, but nothing will compensate you for the deductible cost, loss of time, and general unease about ever parking your truck in a public spot again. You can see how these teams operate. First of all, they do work as a pack, so there may be several cars. There's always somebody on the jack, somebody under the car doing the cutting, and then they're surrounded by several other people, basically to confuse and intimidate anybody stumbling upon the scene. Even in other countries, we have the same thing here. We have a jackman, we have the cutter, and somebody else which is providing security just in case somebody stumbles upon the act in progress. So there must be some reason why these clowns are risking their lives to steal these catalytic converters. And there's actually three reasons: platinum, palladium, and rhodium. Platinum is running for $960 an ounce, palladium is $1,450 an ounce, and rhodium is $9,700 an ounce of these materials. So how easy is it to steal cats from an F-150? Well, it's pretty easy, and it's a gold mine. First of all, you don't need a jack. You can just slide right underneath the truck without having to jack it up. And there's not only one, but two catalytic converters. So this is a gold mine for thieves. And you can see it's right there. The only thing preventing you from just pulling them out is the felt diaper, which offers no protection whatsoever. We'll fix that. So what are we going to do about this? What anti-theft solutions are available to us to protect our trucks? Well, the Trunk Monkey was once available, but from what I understand is no longer available for sale across all 50 states. So we need a different solution. The solution that's come to bear lately is to increase the coverage of the undercarriage protective plate. In most of these trucks, they don't have a proper skid plate. So what we're going to do is we're going to install a proper skid plate under the transmission and add width to it so as to interfere with the process of getting at the catalytic converters. One of these is RCI Metalworks. Another solution is to actually get the OEM Ford Raptor skid plate. I've got the part number. I got this idea and this picture from the F150Gen14.com forum, where there's been quite a few people that have added this solution, and it's about half the cost of other solutions, so it's certainly effective. And the next solution is the Talons Garage PowerBoost skid plate. This one is unusual because they work specifically with PowerBoost owners to come up with a very design specific for the PowerBoost engine, because a bunch of components were in the way on other skid plates and didn't affect it. This is also a beast of a unit that is 1/4-inch plate aluminum. So for myself, I chose the Talons Garage solution. You can see the stock felt diaper, which literally weighs just a couple of ounces next to it, and just this massive 4-foot tall Talons Garage PowerBoost skid plate. Now, I have to mention before I go any further, I have not been compensated. I am not endorsing this product in any manner. I bought this thing straight from the supplier. So you're going to hear my unvarnished thoughts on the things that I think are good about this unit and the surprises that I found at the end of installation. So let's get it put together and installed.
Here is the skid plate from Talons Garage, and it's hard for me to illustrate how massive this thing is. I mean, this thing has got to be 4 feet long, and it's made out of this plate aluminum that's been edged. Really cool looking. Here's the door for the oil change, which I'll put on there later. So the first thing I have to do is add these wings. So I bolt on these wings like this, although apparently there may be some adjustments that I need to make on site when I install this in a couple of days. If it doesn't fit properly, I may have to move these wings to the outside. I hope that doesn't happen. So I'm going to put these wings on right now, and I may not totally torque them all the way down. It looks like we need a 4, 5, and 6 millimeter Allen wrench to finish the job. So off we go. Let's get the wings bolted on. Okay, I've got the wings bolted on. Now these are nylon lock nuts that are on here. I've got this loose on both sides. I've got the wings on, put loosely on, and I will tighten those up using a 5 millimeter Allen. I'll probably chuck a 5 millimeter into my cordless drill, and this takes a 13 millimeter wrench on the nut end. And now we're going to put the oil change door on. Here's the oil change door. Now I'm on the inside of the unit, and this is how I believe this works, is that you have these brackets here which fit like this, one on each side, and then the door fits like so. These 4 screws will hold these brackets on permanently, and then you'll just unscrew the 4 inside ones to access the oil change door. So that will stay on there permanently, and then you can take off the door whenever you need to take the oil change. So we're going to get that set up right now, and I may even consider using some Loctite on these on the mounts for this, and not the door screws. All right, guys, you can see the oil door. Here's the inside. This would be the side facing towards the transmission and engine. And then here's you can see the brackets there that hold this. And then here is the outside of this. So what you want to do, I mean, this is standard mechanics here, that you don't want to crank everything down too tight until you get things kind of set up here. What I'm going to try to do here is this is like a 3 millimeter Allen, so we're going to crank these in.
Hey guys, just a quick editorial comment while I finish screwing in the rest of these Allen bolts is, this is probably the one piece of hardware that I'm going to replace down the road. I don't think these things will last all that long. They're kind of soft. So back to live.
They did a good job of locating the holes. Okay, so I've got all of these on there, and boy, that looks really good right as it is. It's a good fit there. So what I'm going to do is, I've got some, you can see I've got some Loctite on the mounting holes, because I don't want this thing letting loose on the highway. And I'm going to torque these down a little bit tighter. Tight enough. These are soft. These are not going to go anywhere. So again, this is a 3 millimeter Allen head. And then once we get the job done, I'll torque down the Allen heads for the door itself. Okay, so we're just about done with what we can do before we get to the truck. And so now I've got to lift this mofo while I'm under the truck and somehow bolt it on there. That's going to be probably the toughest part. So, next time you see me, I'll be under the truck.
If you've ever done an oil change on a late model F-150, you're familiar with this process, removing the felt diaper. This comes off with 4 8mm bolts. Now we're going to remove all of the mounting hardware for the felt diaper, including the rear mounts, which bolt onto their frame rail. Now, I skipped a whole step in the filming of this just because we were so busy wrestling around a 40-pound plate. But you'll install the plate at the front with 2 existing bolts and then lift it up, and then you've got to jack it up under something. In this case, I've got a jack stand, which is carrying the weight while I put in the 2 rear bolts. Now, one of those rear bolts, the one I'm messing with right now, required me to drill through some heat shielding, after which you can put the washer and the nuts on and then tighten everything up.
Well, there she is. Okay, that is the Talons garage skid plate. And I dare you to find the catalytic converters inside of there. And trust me, nobody is going to spend the time to take this thing off because it is effing heavy and it is solid. So somebody's going to crawl under here and go, I don't think so. There's the install for the Talons garage cat shield.
Okay, so after all that work and after spending $400 on a Talons garage catalytic converter shield, do I think it will do the job? Yes, absolutely, I think it will do the job. So unless you park this thing a mile away from everybody else and give these people another hour to figure out what hardware to remove to get at the catalytic converters, yes, what I bought this thing for is so I can park this in my driveway or park this on a street or park this anywhere in a city environment and not have a smash and grab gang come up and try to steal this thing in 30 seconds. They won't do it. They'll roll under this thing and they'll realize, no, not going to happen today. Move on to the next easier target. So the whole idea here is to make the target more difficult. Not that it's impossible, but to make it more difficult, go after somebody else's easier target. So to me, this PowerBoost skid plate cat protector will do the job, absolutely. Now, what's my impression of the product, the service, and the end result of this? I think the product itself is amazing. I mean, this thing is built like a tank. I mean, all the quality materials, first rate, everything is terrific. The instructions are a little skimpy in terms of how to put this thing together, which I'm sure the difficulty is they have so many variations of different trucks that are out there. So trying to come up with one set of instructions must have been difficult. It wasn't that hard. I mean, you're literally talking about 4 bolts that go onto the truck, so it's not that difficult to put together. However, you've really got to have somebody else there. I mean, there was whole steps that we skipped in the installation video just because my video guy, my helper, turned out he had to hold the thing up and help me and, get jack stands and run around and do stuff. So it's really a two-person job. Don't try to do this by yourself. At least have somebody else out there for maybe emotional support at the very least. Now, something that I was not expecting after I got everything buttoned together was the sound. The sound of the truck is different. The exhaust note is different. And if you think about it, it makes sense because what you've got there is basically a sound chamber trapping sound on there. You've got all the exhaust running through. You got the cats running right through there. And you've got basically a sound chamber that is going to have certain resonant frequencies to it. So I was a little surprised to hear a little bit more exhaust note than I've ever heard before on the truck. And if you think about it, the felt diaper easily passes sound right through it, has no resonant frequencies to it, but now all of a sudden you bolt a great big metal box on the bottom of your truck, you are going to have a different sounding exhaust note. Didn't think about that before, was fairly noticeable on the drive home. So keep that in mind. This is not the fault of Talons Garage. I'm sure anybody that bolts anything underneath there, which is a fixed rigid piece of metal, is going to have the same issue like that. So if you're used to a very, very quiet ride in the PowerBoost, as am I, be prepared for a slightly different growl coming from your truck. So thank you very much for watching this video. You are the reason why I make these videos, is to help folks like you out there that are driving the same trucks that we all are. And I'd love to hear your comments in the comment section below in terms of what you'd like to see done next. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you in the next video.